But watching the game, it's like, it was there for the taking. It's a few plays, and I feel like we say that every freaking week. So yeah, Jones did not have a good start. This is one of his worst starts as a starter. I'm trying to think of other games where it might have been worse. Maybe you'd say, I don't know. Pats, he wasn't great. He did have the one touchdown. Maybe he wasn't so great against the Vikings. I would say I don't think it's far fetched to say this is the worst start of his short career. Again, he's not played 16 full games. 17 of 32 for 179 yards and an interception. It's the first time he has not thrown a touchdown pass, which that in itself should be enough for you to say, oh, like, let's give him a pass for a little bit. Here's a fun fact. Jones has 12 losses in his first 15 starts. This is kind of tied to the stat I gave last week. 4 Hall of Famers, as well as Peyton Manning, have had 12 or more losses in their first 15 career starts since 1950. So, not outside the realm of pos that Jones can be a Hall of Fame type quarterback. And we'll get to it in a little bit with Paul Schwartz wrote an article about the ruining of Daniel Jones for the New York Post. And I think it's a must read, and I'll recap it later. But Jones has been pressured on 41.5% of his dropbacks, just third in the NFL according to Pro Football Focus, who ranked them dead last in pass protection. So, we started off the year looking pretty solid in pass protection, all things considered. I mean, the Steelers have one of the most vaunted pass rushes in the league. So for them to stand up to it and give Jones somewhat of a pocket to throw from is admirable. And then it's deteriorated since then. And we'll talk about Andrew Thomas and how he's played a part in that in a little bit. But the ground game is I thought this was the game that we would break out. In my preview, I said I'd be shocked if we didn't put up 100 yards rushing against this team, and not even close. Our top rusher was Daniel Jones, 5 carries, 49 yards, which at this point, you almost have to rely on him being your run game. And so you saw it on like a few plays here and there, designed run plays for Jones, because he can pick up a lot of yards. I mean, he averaged almost 10 yards a carry. Why they're not running more RPO, I can't answer that. I don't know. I mean, that was like the number one thing people were talking about when Jason Garrett became OC is like, look at Daniel Jones' stats when doing run pass option in 2019. His stats are as good as they get for him personally and across the league. So we should see a lot more of that in 2020, and we haven't seen hardly any of that. So maybe that'll change after this. Devontae Freeman, who signed like that week. I mean, he had like a week to prepare, had 5 carries for 10 yards. He did have the one carry that looked nice, was able to evade a tackle and get to this second level. So he still has some moves, and he looks like he's can take the hits. Wayne Gallman, 4 carries, 7 yards. Dion Lewis, 1 carry, no yards. Giants have yet to record more than 75 rushing yards in a game this season. They're the only team in the NFL to do that. I mean, we're dead last in rushing. And I threw out a tweet like, is this the year? And I don't know if this has ever happened, that a quarterback leads their team in rushing. And I have a feeling that probably might have happened with Michael Vick or Randall Cunningham, would be my guess. Receiving, not great. Slayton had another off game, 7 targets, 3 catches, 53 yards. Had that the Joe Judge report, which still is nice to watch despite how we feel about Judge, after that just abysmal showing. Still nice to watch him break down plays. He broke down the completion from Jones to Slayton. I think it was 23-yard out, something like that, on a key first down conversion. Like Jones throwing the ball before Slayton broke, amazing, right on point. Put the only place you could put it was pretty good coverage, and then Slayton having the wherewithal to turn from the defender so that the defender couldn't poke it out and pull a James Bradberry or Logan Ryan and punch it out. So good play there, but otherwise 3 of 7 is not going to do it. Golden Tate, 7 targets, 5 catches, 36 yards. Again, if you were to tell me, hey, what were the numbers for Tate just by watching the game, I couldn't have told you. I couldn't have told you 5 for 36. I would have thought 1 for 10 or something like that. I mean, the guy has just been like MIA, just like non-impact, unimpactful. I would not be shocked if the Giants try to ship him off somewhere at the trade deadline. A lot of potential players getting shipped at the trade deadline. This is very reminiscent of the 2017 season. It just feels like, okay, at what point it's November, we're now 0 and at that point we'll probably be 0 and 6, 0 and 5. It's like the only other team I can think of that started 0 and 5 and made the playoffs was the Kansas City Chiefs from 2015, something like that. Ended up going and playing the Pats and losing with Alex Smith. So, the odds of us pulling that off, very slim. But, like I said, this is going to be a season where, because we didn't have a preseason, because training camp was mostly virtual for a long time, that you're not going to see players at their full capacity or abilities until like week 4 or 5. So maybe this is the week. Maybe next week we'll finally get an inkling of what this team really is, because this still feels like a preseason team that I'm watching. I thought Engram was going to have a big day. He had 5 targets, 3 catches, 22 yards. I think he had a drop. Caden Smith, only 2 targets, 1 catch, 13 yards. That's just not great. Dion Lewis, 3 targets, 1 catch, 10 yards. I mean, just bad. Damion Ratley, I think had a catch, but he also fumbled the ball, which could have been bad. Caden Smith had a fumble. Slayton had a fumble on that last drive that he lost. And, of course, Jones had a fumble that he lost, which was the toss to Engram. Logan Ryan had 2 passes defended. James Bradberry had 3 passes defended. Whew. And I think Isaac Yiadom was actually replaced in this game by Lewis, whatever his first name is, Ryan Lewis. Defensively, so offensively, it's just like, I think we've totaled 38 points, which is next to last to the Jets. There have been, I don't even know how many teams that have put up more points in a game than the Giants have all season. So Jason Garrett, kindly remove your cabeza from your culo. That'd be great. Julian Love, 10 tackles, 1 assist. Logan Ryan, this is not good when your secondary is leading the team in tackles. Logan Ryan, 4 solos, 3 assists. Blake Martinez, 4 solos, 5 assists, a sack, and 2 tackles for loss. You can't really ask. I know I was a little critical of him last week, but he's like the only guy showing up that's consistent for the Giants defensively right now. Tomlinson had 2 tackles for loss. Leo had a sack and 2 tackles for loss. So it looks like he is playing the best he's played in a long time. So is it still worth a monster contract? I do not know. I just don't know. James Bradberry, another solid game. Kyler Fackrell, Lorenzo Carter had a tackle for loss. Holmes was non-existent. Jabril Peppers got hurt, and he did not practice today, which is Friday. So he's probably out for the game against the Rams in LA, which is sad, but it started to feel like Engram's not going to make it very long with the Giants anymore. It's looking like Peppers is not going to be the guy. Once McKinney comes back, I think people feel good with McKinney and Love, possibly. Logan Ryan has played good enough that I would love to keep him, but I think he's probably going to ask for more money now that he's proven himself yet again. Devontae Downs is, try not to be irrational here. I'm trying not to exaggerate too much, but holy fuck, what in the hell did this coaching staff see in Devontae Downs over the course of training camp that they would cut Ryan Connolly, completely remove Connolly from the roster? What in the world did this guy do that he deserved a starting spot? There were a couple plays that I saw on social media, and I understand you're cherry picking bad plays. Of all the snaps that he played, you're showing this one play, but he looks so bad trying to fill the gap, fill the hole on a running play, and got completely juked out of his shoes. And he's not great in coverage. And it's just like, this is the guy that you all wanted to start. And we're carrying so many linebackers, and you could have just kept Connolly. Why? And I understand Connolly has only played one snap on defense for the Vikings. So who knows? Maybe he doesn't play another snap for the rest of his career. But it's like we had a guy that was proven. And yes, the ACL injury sucked and probably made him slower. But at the same time,